Let's see. Hi. This is part of the grand experiment. Let me see if, there we go. All right. Hello, it is morning in Chicago. Good morning from Chicago. And I am here, I'm Brandy Agerbeck, and I'm here in my studio space. And this is part of the grand experiment. And I'm just gonna be live. I'm gonna share some stuff I'm working on in the studio here. Today, what I'm working on is finishing an article about how to focus when you're listening. And because I just taught a whole day about it. So I taught visual listening, which was a deep dive workshop, and it was a freaking joy. And so it's very much on my mind. How do you listen? What is the act of listening? What are the parts of it? And over the course of that day, I taught these specific listening cues, which I put on these handy dandy, snazzy little cards. And so I just thought, you know what? The question that came up at the beginning of the day was, two questions that came up was, how do you keep your focus and how do you hold so much stuff in your head? And it was answered over the course of the day. I just thought, you know what, let's make a shorter, more direct line, which I did in the video I recorded and the article that I will publish tomorrow. So today, a couple things I got going on. One, I'm gonna figure out how to annotate this workbook page from the course, from the workshop, to go into that article page on my site. So that's something on the roster today. And I'm excited to play with more of these cards. So, oh, hey, Jose, good to see you over there in YouTube land. So I've made some cards. You're going to see more cards. Not yet in my online store is this the trio deck, where I'm showing different trios of colors. So for instance, let's do that. Where am I here? Oh, you got a whole lot of desks. So you can see my field monitor there in the corner. So this deck is a whole lot of examples of a trio of colors in the way that I teach. Use color a lot versus using a lot of colors. So that is deck number one. Then I made these cards here, but I'm playing with this idea of the stack, individual cards. How do you learn from them? How do you get inspired from them? And I'm making cards. Hey, Phil, good to see you. Welcome. Let me go back there. So this idea of the stack and collecting cards, you know, I'm a huge fan of index cards, and I can get beautiful cards printed from a lovely small business. Turns out it's International Small Business Week. So shout out to the Game Crafter in Madison, Wisconsin, that does all sorts of fantastic sells game components, but you can also buy the boxes, the cards, the everythings, the boards, it's really incredible. So so I'm playing with this idea of cards, and it's something that's been percolating for a while, and I absolutely got the opportunity to play with these 10 cards for the 10 listening cues. And now I've been down so many gorgeous rabbit holes around Creative Commons, wonderful imagery, wonderful stock photos. I subscribe to Scopio, new discovery, frickin' all sorts of cool stuff. Amazing images over there on Scopio. And so playing with this idea of how do you create decks of images around themes? What should those themes be? And all that good stuff. So part of what I'm playing with over here is making a card for what will probably be a deck all about pattern, but it also works with the color pink. In my membership program, Camp Draw More, we have a monthly theme, and in February, thanks to Valentine's Day, love it or hate it, the theme for Camp Draw More was the color pink. And so I want to play with this idea of making a booster pack of pink cards to send out to my campers, and that's what I'm playing with. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Dana. Good morning. So what am I doing? I thought I had to go over here for something. So I'm in the kind of middle space here in my studio. Very, very thankful for this space. For a few years, anyone who knows the Agerbeck method course, I was in one single room with gorgeous big windows and a whole lot of outside noise. So here in the new studio, it'll be a year in August. I've got lots of great space. So this is kind of this middle space. And what's so funny to me about it is it's a basement unit in a 6-flat in Chicago. And it was built out as an ad agency. And this little counter here was they call this weird space in the middle of the conference room because people could kind of stand around that, standing height counter. And I guess, I don't know, look at proofs, look at portfolios, whatever. But it makes a nice place for me to make. It's a decent background when I'm teaching. I've got my IKEA trivet color wheel over there on the wall. So this morning what I was doing was cutting out a bunch of triangles. And let's see, let's go over here. So we did that. Do I care that? Let's see, we'll go like that. So currently I'm trying to balance a light over here, which is probably not going to work. This is the behind the scenes, the really exciting stuff. I have a light balanced on top of my document camera because the document camera itself ends up casting a shadow on whatever I'm working on. Elena, hello. Awesome to see you pop up there. So here, I just have a piece of regular old construction paper and I marked out, you can really see the lines here on the document camera, some really simple pencil lines. What I want to do is make a card that is using these triangles in a Harlequin pattern. So for this pattern deck, one of the patterns I want to illustrate is a Harlequin or diamond pattern. And that's what I'm going to do. And as I'm doing that, Paula, nice to see you from Italy. Got Italy, Spain, US. Hooray! We're everywhere. Us visual thinkers are everywhere. So I'm trying to figure out where my glue went. Very important if I'm going to glue something down, you need glue. So here in the studio today, I wanted to just play with this card. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with doing a live Studio Tuesday. I've done these over time, but they weren't really spontaneous. They were more, hey, Carmen, yay! Awesome. I love everyone, whether I know you or not, but there's some extra love happening in the chat on YouTube. Let's see. I want to tell you about this movie I just saw called The Sparks Brothers. And if you know about the band Sparks, add it to the comments. Here's what happened. I think it was last Tuesday. My husband and I were, I'm just going to arrange some of these over here and try to create a pattern. So my husband and I were trying to come up with a movie to go see. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of movies out. There's certainly not a whole lot of movies I want to see because I got, pretty arty tastes. And if anything's making it to the movie theater, it tends to be pretty darn mainstream. So we're looking at the listings, underwhelmed by the listings, and I'm scrolling farther, and the chain AMC has this, I can't think what it's called. It's sort of like their, hey, Sunshine. Hey, Holger. Awesome. Yay, welcome. They have this, kind of curated like the artsy movies. So I saw a movie there called The Sparks Brothers. And by the way, something that is wrong with my light. Actually, maybe I don't want it. Can't really see the color pink here. You have to trust me that these triangles are a really nice pink color. Here, let's just turn that light off, see what we get. So on this camera, oh, it's amazing what color does on a monitor and through cameras. So currently, awesome, Sparks. Hey, Michi, good to see you. Basically, the color pink as I'm seeing it in the room is between this rosy or purpley pink and the not barely pink here in this on this document camera. We're gonna have to figure that one out. We'll figure that one out. So the Sparks Brothers listing on this site, and I'm like, here's what I thought. I like Edgar Wright, so that was a plus. Then I'm thinking, It's a documentary, but I'm looking at the cast list thinking, this looks like a mockumentary. But then I look into it. Nope. It's a documentary about these two brothers in a band called Sparks. I'm 47 years old. These gentlemen have been making music with their various band members for 53 freaking years. They're weirdos. They're glorious weirdos. I have never, ever, ever heard of Sparks. What? So I see this, and it was this really brief conversation. Now what am I looking for? I thought I heard my phone vibrate, but I'm going to just ignore that. So what? I never heard of Sparks. So, I see this and I'm like, oh, well, I'll have to keep an eye on that. And then 2 days later, I'm here in the studio and I see, I really am hearing that. Let's see. I'm wandering off, guys. I'm still here. I'm just making sure nothing of concern is happening. Nope. Just my phone on vibrate and my husband writing about the discoveries at the farmer's market next to his workplace. All right. So 2 days later, Thursday, I'm here in the studio working, and Jeremy, my hubby, wrote me and said, or called me, left me a voicemail, whatever, it doesn't matter. he said, Sparks Brothers, 7 p.m. I'm like, all right. So I hightail it back home, and we go to see this movie. Now, happily, we knew it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And all right. So happy to know that so that we could kind of pace ourselves. So right now over here in these triangles, I'm trying to mix up triangles so that they're like kind of, hey, Oren, good to see you. Do you know Sparks? You might know Sparks. Happily, we knew how long the movie was. We show up, we watch this movie. Oh my gosh, it was exactly what I needed. So a lot of things going on. Still standing, still surviving, still making stuff, still teaching visual listening. A couple Saturdays ago was a complete freaking delight. Happily, when I am teaching, I really do feel like I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. And there's still plenty of BS. There's still plenty of worrying about paying the bills. There's still plenty of just what this kind of uncertainty, as much as we are slowly coming out of it, how much this all takes a toll. And I am a human, and I will admit, I've been feeling kind of nihilistic. I've been feeling like, why do I do what I do? It's too hard. I've been doing this for 23 years. Blah. So that was kind of the mindset I was in. Sorry, I'm a human. I feel this way. And just part of it is just the grind, which has been like turned up to 11. Another good reference. Rock movie reference, mockumentary reference. And part of it is not, it's like the not having stuff to look forward to, right? And a big part of it was really recognizing how freaking limited our exposure to new things are with these freaking algorithms everywhere. So, you find something and you think, oh, that was interesting. And then they just, try to show you 20 more things exactly like it. Now, I know the intention is something like, if you liked it before, you'll like it again, but we get stuck in these eddies. We get stuck in these spots where it's like, there's nothing new. There's nothing inspiring. That sounds terrible. I know, but how I've been feeling. You're just stuck in these spaces where it's like, I made the mistake of clicking on a couple of the style of YouTube video, which is talking, but it's like very much like, who can we take down? Critical videos. And I'm all for critique. I am all for questioning stuff and making sure, you're doing the stuff the way you want. That's vague. Anyway, clicked on a couple of videos that were like, not the most constructive stuff. And then unfortunately, you get a whole lot of that BS over and over and over again. And it wears one down, especially a sensitive soul like me, who would much rather just be here pushing around little triangles of paper. So I've just been in this very kind of stuck place. So we go to see the Sparks Brothers. We sit down for this movie, and it was incredible. It was a pretty the oh, that's awesome. You're in China, Jose. Fantastic. Um, and Yorin, you're gonna have to check out Sparks, and you're gonna have to check out this movie. It's incredible. The movie's format, like in the very beginning, you see these two brothers being interviewed, very much like an Errol Morris straight to camera kind of thing. And you're like, who are these guys? What's the deal here? And they say, they asked how many, Edgar Wright asked how many albums they made, and they said 25. And then he asked how many albums will you, how many albums will you make in the future? and Russell Mael, I think it was Russell who said, well, given medical advances, I'd say another 200 or 300. So the format of this freaking documentary is kind of going album by album through the history of these two gentlemen and the band they created and all the bandmates. So yes, Hillary's so right. So Hillary just put in the chat, that's when you need to go watch a bunch of Eurovision videos and reset the algorithm. Yes. One of my more recent algorithms reset, what I'm trying to say, was weaving videos. Very calm. Very calm. So I am with you. And like Sparks, Eurovision's really good for that kind of theatrics and just the bizarro kind of vibe, right? So so they go, I say so a lot. That's just part of the deal. They go album by album, and this band, again, how? I posted this, when I came home, I posted, and my friend Pat said, I don't know if there could be a more brandy band than Sparks. I think they're right. I think he's right. So again, how did I not ever hear about Sparks? Kind of the tagline in this movie was the band, all your favorite musicians worship. And so I don't want to spoil anything. I love going and not knowing anything about these gentlemen and the people they worked with. But the basic format is album by album, and they get to a certain point, and they're going through this big lull. And Russell had to, Hillary, what I'm doing with the triangles, working on making cards, and one of the just sort of lovely kind of poker-sized cards, all about visual language, working on the triangles for a deck about pattern, and demonstrating a harlequin or diamond pattern, which is one of my favorites. There will also be a deck about pink, or booster pack at least, of 18 cards around pink. And it could go either of those places, both of those places. I'm still figuring that out. So a certain point in the movie, they're going through this lull. Years are going by without producing albums, which is very unlike them. And that's around the point that Russell created a studio in his house. So, he basically said, I realized that, if we want to keep making music, this is a skill set I need to have. And it's a shot of Ron approaching Russell's home. They go into the studio, this big white room, great windows. And it's they're just sitting there working in silence next to each other, side by side. Ron writes all the freaking music, and Russell is the front man and sings. And this just hit me, like, just before that scene, it hit me that, like, how freaking tenacious these two humans are. And when I'm feeling all nihilistic and why am I doing this, I'm like, they do it. They're doing it. They're still doing it 53 years later. And Carla, good to see you too. Oh, yay. So, and part of it is the isolation. Believe me, I adore being home here or in the studio alone. Love it. This is part of the reason that if any of my Camp Drummore folks join me in the Zoom, I'm like, they're muted, which I never ever do aside from this, because I just want to be alone in my studio and trying stuff out and talking about process and talking about inspiration. So awesome to see the glorious humans in the YouTube chat. So again, nihilism, grind, blah, blah, and just not getting anything new. Like, again, getting stuck in these algorithm eddies that just are like, ugh, stagnant water, right? No flow up. So in that kind of space, and I'm being a freaking crab apple, and bless Jeremy, he's a crab apple too, so he cannot complain. He's a constant crab apple. I am an occasional crab apple. But because I tolerate his constant crab appleness, he has no problem, and he's actually very good at handling my occasional crab appleness. So we're watching this movie, and it gets to a point, and I realize like how tenacious these people are, and they're weird, and they do exactly what they want to do, and that's just the deal. So I'm getting like this boost of like, oh, you just go do the work. I know that's really obvious, but I needed this example. I needed this example of these two brothers just showing up and doing the work. And then the next scene was Ron arriving at Russell's house. They go into the studio. They're working quietly. I relate so hard, and I'm like, I've got a studio. Show up and do the work. Now, towards the end of the movie, they talk a little bit about their daily routine. I am not a human who's so great at routine. That's something that probably would help me. But this movie, holy crow. So it was exactly what I needed. It was a really, really inspiring, and also was like this discovery. Like, it's still freaking blowing my mind. Again, Sparks has been performing for 53 years. I have never freaking heard of them. Now, I'm not like the uber music geek, but I get around, and I'm weird. And they're weird. So, excuse me. So I'm glad you're liking the pattern, Carmen. And I'm glad you like seeing me. So highly recommend Sparks Brothers. Be prepared for 2 hours and 20 minutes. But for anyone who, whether you know the band or not, just go see it. It's people who have their own unique vision, and they stay true to it, and are constantly morphing and changing and learning new things. So bless Russell for saying, you know what, if we're going to continue, I'm going to have to learn to become an audio engineer. And he did. And they continue to work. And they show up daily. So super, I just wanted to share that because like freaking I needed it. I needed something new that like just reignited that sense of wonder. So go see the Sparks Brothers. And I haven't even gotten into the music yet. So now I got 25 freaking albums to listen to. I sense I'm going to like Little Beethoven a lot. There was a lot I enjoyed during the movie, but that one in particular, I'm like, yep, I see what you're doing there. So this pattern over here, Harlequin pattern with triangles for a card and a deck about pattern, possibly a card and a deck about pink. And I'm looking at this, it's okay. And this may just be where it is. So as I'm looking at this, unfortunately, I think what you're seeing on YouTube isn't as nuanced color-wise, at least how I'm seeing it through my monitor. But what I'm trying to do here is like mix up, that's up, that's on the upside, that's on the downside. These are both down. So I'll probably futz a little bit here, but I generally like the arrangement here. And I did pencil in some guides here so I know where to put the triangles. And I'm trying to get something that is about this proportion. See, that proportion. So this is a card from Visual Listening, just a regular poker size card. So I do have to think about, when I photograph this or scan it, it's going to be the right kind of coverage. Now, in this case, I don't necessarily need the points to go exactly. Maybe it will. Maybe that'll be elegant. So maybe the points here will go exactly on the edge of the card, but I'm awfully sure because this wasn't like mathed out, that the points will probably get broken. Like, I don't think this is the right, beautiful, perfect proportion. But again, right now I'm looking at this going, okay, is this all right? Do I need to mix up the patterns more? honestly, the big thing is just having those two. If this was a larger pattern, what I did was I cut out 3 of each piece of paper, except for that one. I just wanted one of that one. Maybe, let's see this. Let's if we make that one guy more central. It's actually just a really old piece of construction paper. So it's gotten kind of yellowed. So I'm looking at this going, you know what? I want those to go in each direction, not in the same direction. So let's put that there. And now let's see. If I flip this here, there's going to be 2 similar next to each other, right? So I've solved this problem, like it's a real problem, right? Excuse me. I've solved that problem. Now I don't love that those 2 are so similar, but also I've got 3 patterns next to each other here. So why don't we just, I think I've cracked the code. Guys, this could be it. Whoop. So get that one there. We'll put this one here. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. If anyone's watching and has an opinion, for those who are live, that feels pretty balanced to me, but still interesting. So the idea is we're trying to create some visual interest. Again, if it was larger, if it was just far like a bigger canvas and more triangles, it'd be nice to have more odd numbers here because we have 2 of these, we have 2 of these. We've got 3 of that guy. That happens to be a sticker that was on a little paper bag of something. I've got these bins. Actually, it's not even the right kind of bin. I have these bins of collage materials I have been accumulating for over 20 years. So this is why I'm making some time to use this stuff to demonstrate these visual concepts, because this is what I nerd out on. This is what I'm here for. And I know those of you who caught the email and are here with me, you are my peeps. This I know. And this I'm extremely thankful for. If anyone has any questions, maybe I can answer a question. But basically, Sparks Brothers, really thankful for that inspiration. I needed that inspiration. Right now I'm trying to get my glue working to glue down some triangles. And, you know, how's things in China and Denmark and Italy and Germany? Let me know. Here in Chicago, it is summer, and also another inspiration for trying a Studio Tuesday live, is my friend Haley Kroom of Paintbox Soapworks. Haley is a chef. She trained as a chef and then took all sorts of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experiences of sensory, really yummy sensory stuff, and has been for 10 years now a soap maker. A lot of people have been gifted wonderful soaps that she makes, because I love gifting people her glorious soaps. So Haley and I had a nice catch up yesterday morning. It was definitely one of those where both of us are introverts who don't want to see humans. We don't want to lose our minds in isolation, but I don't know how many other people are here with me live who are thinking, yeah, I don't know. I guess hugs would be good, but that would be navigating social calendars again and all that stuff. So we did have a lovely catch up on Zoom over coffee yesterday morning. And we were talking about like this kind of video or this kind of documentation. And the idea is that, we're both massive fans of process and practice, her in soap making, and I in this and other things. And but the challenge is it takes a lot of time to stop and document your process. And when you like being productive and doing lots of things, that'll really slow you down. So that was part of the inspiration of hopping online live today, and maybe in the future, is a chance to document and talk process and nerd out all at once and get creative and push little triangles around. So So this, I realized the spacing wasn't going to be, all right. Perfectionist in me is going, okay, the way I lined up these lines, these aren't meeting exactly. We'll see what ends up happening. What may end up happening is I just add to the design and put little somethings on those intersections. So yeah, talk and process. If you folks have questions, please ask. But this challenge of making these cards, by the way, the morning I figured this one out, I was very excited. Possibly the umbrella term for all these different decks and cards. Aggro decks. Yeah. A lovely side effect of this project and starting this project is getting super nerdy into indexing and organizing and like how to categorize these different parts of visual language, how to demonstrate them. So my intention, stay tuned, my intention is that that I'll make these cards, and right now I'm thinking in multiples of 18. So for folks who've played any kind of collectible card game, or I don't know if baseball cards come in packs of 18, but definitely if you think about something like Magic the Gathering or some kind of collectible card game, you buy them in these foil booster packs. Again, if you join, thank you, Dana. Yes, and sunshine. Sparkly crystals, right? Come on. I have, this is why hashtag sparkle therapy. Always looking for a good reason to get some sparkles going. So right now I'm lining these up more for the pencil lines I have here versus those points, because we can add sparkles later. Excuse me, where was I? Process, decks, cards. So those booster packs hold up to 18 cards. And so I've been thinking in multiples of 18 cards. And also thinking about, well, a card is going to have multiple attributes. So even if I might be initially making this particular card, again, right now I'm making this collage and I'll photograph it and it'll end up on a card. Even if I'm making this card primarily for the patterned Harlequin, it's also pink. It's also triangles. You can see all those gorgeous intersections about visuals. So, water break. So what I'm trying to come up with is a series of icons on the backs of the cards, like some kind of constant. Because, for instance, this is a thought process here. This trio deck is very much a discrete deck, and they each have, so every card, except for the ones that are like that intro card. It's just funny I picked out that one. So this is a deck of 72 cards. 71 of them all look like this on the front. Let me go over here. There we go. Look like exactly the same graphic on the front. And then on the back, the formatting is exactly the same, just an index of those colors. And in this case, I've got the Neuland ink colors. So if you're Team Neuland, it's really easy to make these trios of colors. So not limited to that, but Team Neuland. So this is the format that made sense for cohesion within this specific deck. All right. And then as I really kind of spontaneously created these 10 cards for visual listening, same idea, same kind of, different cards on each one, but there's a little number in the corner, or sorry, letter in the corner for the labels. And then on the back is what each of those cards do. And you can see I'm using a similar visual with the logo and then the key. And in both of these particular cards, it's probably not going to be true of these other guys. This is actually sized so you can fit a little mini Post-it note on it. So if you want to make a note for yourself, but you don't want to write on the card, you've got this little space to write in notes like, use this for Michigan State. That's the school colors, whatever. Makes me think of the Big Chill. One day, I just came across my sketch. I'm going to make a diagram of the relationships in The Big Chill, which is a favorite movie. And anyway, so space to stick a Post-it note on there, make some notes. Similarly, these cards, you can fit a 2x2 Post-it note. It was so funny. I sent out a pack of 2x2 Post-it notes with these cards with the workbook for the visual listening kits. And bless Lisa, one of my Cap Draw More folks, at the end of the day, she's like, but what are the Post-it notes for? So over a 6-hour workshop, I didn't mention it. And it wasn't integrated. It was one of those, like, I have it if I need it, but it didn't end up being integrated. But in these particular decks, there's space to make notes. Thinking about it as a reference, thinking about it as inspiration, thinking about, how can I make that little card work well in itself, but also be part of a system. So hopefully some folks are enjoying this peek into Brandy's brain. But when it comes to the kind of cards I'm thinking about now, is I'm thinking about, is there some kind of consistency I can have across the backs of the decks? So I've been playing with icons. So right now it's like, well, I don't know what's going to be, but right now, like for instance, a pink deck, the top of the, actually, let me sketch this out. Let me grab, because I can, if I very carefully move my triangles over here. So go back here. So the backs of the decks, let's see if this gray is dark enough. So if this is the back of the card, right now for the pink deck, I'm taking this top part and just pulling out a color palette, and actually kind of proportional to the colors that are on the other side of the card, but kind of a way to like look at colors. And that this format may only be for the decks or booster packs specific to color. But so, this would be color palette, right? Let me know in the chat if you're enjoying this nerdery, if you're still with me. If you're not, that's okay. That's okay. I can handle it. This is all part of the grand experiment. It's about process. Happily on YouTube, things stick around. So whether you're watching this if you're with me live on June 22nd, or if you're watching this later, here's the scoop. If you're watching later, you can see if this actually happened and how it happened and what changed. Hillary says, how long until somebody comes up with an Agardex drinking game? Now, if you had a drinking game watching my videos and you drank when I said so, you would get alcohol poisoning, and I'm sorry. Don't make that part of the game. But as far as the decks, that's a good question. We'll have to ponder that one, Hillary. So the logo will be at the bottom here, and then it'll be this part will be the icons, and the background here is black, and it'll have like the logo coming down instead of, so block. I'm mixing block letters and whatever. The inconsistency is freaking me out. But in this section here would be like an icon, like if it's a photograph, the photographer, or a hand if it's handmade. The icon here, and then the creator's name. Here's the logo up until about this point, and then here will be some kind of index for the index for that specific card. And I think it might be something as simple as, this one might be pink 012. So that part I got figured out. Here is the mystery part. Here, the very light yellow, that part right here is what I'm trying to figure out. Sunshine, I'm glad you love that. You should tell me what you love, because there's a big lag between stuff coming out of my mouth and then what you see. So I'm glad you love it, whatever you love. So right now what I'm playing with is this idea of what are the icons here, and what should, like for instance, I know that I want some set of icons. I already have a set of icons that are about symmetry. I'm a total symmetry freak. So for instance, one of the icons is like this is for symmetry. This is for radial symmetry, a little tidier than that. And this is, oh, I didn't turn my face back on. Hi. And then this is for, what is it called? Reflectional symmetry? No, is that right? Don't quote me on this. But there's something distinct from this and this. And then there is also, this is actually new to me, this idea of I use the icon that's like this, for transitional symmetry. So, we definitely have radial here. Oh, this is bilateral. But that's also reflection. See? I get to nerd out about all these aspects about visual language. This is definitely translational. Let me try to write that a little more neatly. Translational? No. Transitional? There we go. So for instance, the idea is there'd be these icons, and I'd only put the icons that are appropriate to the image on the other side on the card. But the things I'm playing with is, and then also a color, some core color right there behind the logo, like I was doing on these, pulling out the light color for these cards. Thank you, Dana. Helpful to hear about uncertainty and process. Yeah. So that's part of what I'm playing with is what should these icons be, so that it's help. My intention, my hope is that they're educational, also inspirational, also that you could look at them to really like learn something specifically, but also just play with juxtapositions. Pull out some cards, collect the cards over time, pull out some cards and say, oh wow, having this card next to this card, I'm coming up with a totally different idea. Kind of like, well, very broadly like oblique strategies. Was that Brian Eno? Which were, I think, all phrases. I don't think there was any visuals on those cards. Somebody knows the oblique strategies deck, let me know. Were there images or just text? So this is lots of nerdy fun, is figuring out what those icons should be. Also thinking about, again, kind of in these 18 card booster packs. But this pattern deck will probably be something more like this, like a big giant set, because that particular deck is definitely about getting a much better vocabulary about pattern. That's it. And I'll put it over here in case I want this again. So, ta-da. I'm getting kind of tired talking to myself over here, but lovely to see you in the chat, those who could join me live. So again, the intention here, play for an hour in the studio, talk about process. And this is something, one of my big rallying cries is process over product. That's specifically, I'm going back to gluing triangles over here. So I'm looking down. Process over product. And I know a lot of people who are live with me knew I was going there. So I repeat it for good reason. And this is, specifically, the reason I kind of really came up with that phrase was talking about a certain type of drawing, i.e. visual thinking, a certain kind of drawing that's very much about working through something, getting something done, and it's not about beauty. It's great if it's beautiful, but it's not about beauty. It's not about the product. This is where I talk about drawing as a verb, where the only judgment of a process-focused drawing is, does it get you a step closer in what you're trying to do? That's it. And when we learn this and we truly live it, it's a glorious thing, because it shushes the inner critic, because it helps us be more gentle with ourselves and our perfectionism, which I know I can use. And I know some of these glorious humans live with me right now can use, because we are very good at being very hard on ourselves. Like right now, that point, you can see it's not quite straight. So, all right, this row's done. I might add some more here, but I'm definitely going to get these down. I don't know if I need that row. that column, I should say. Anyhow, all right, so now let's glue these guys. If anyone has any questions, I got time. Oh, thanks, Sunshine. Sunshine says she loves, I'm assuming Sunshine's a lady, Sunshine Factory. If you're not, they are admiring my perspective tattoo. So this is a very fuzzy old tattoo I got when I was 25, so 22 years ago. And that's my perspective. This is my perspective on the world. That's my, well, it's also my moneymaker. And it is lined up, which you can see perfectly on the document camera. This tattoo is lined up for me. And if I hold it up this way, it's all twisty because, again, it's my perspective. There you go. So gluing down some triangles. Again, anyone has any questions? I just realized this is, ooh, look at that. So right now I don't have, I think I might make a little adjustment here. I put this down and I realized that because this doesn't have a baseline like this does, this could get real wonky. And wonky in a not fun way. So, you are a lady. Hi. So I'm grabbing my ruler and my pencil, and I'm going to put in, let's see if we can do this here. This is a quilting ruler, which is very good at, let's see, we'll place this here. Oh, I'm going to need more glue on that guy. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm placing that point. That's kissing perfectly. And now I'm going to kind of line it up here because you can see that's just a little bit off. Maybe you can't at the angle you're seeing me from. So I'm using my quilting ruler to line this up over here. Give myself a new baseline. Do I have any fellow quilters here with me? All right. So now we're going to gently place that there. We are going to gently put this here. Put this here. I have to narrate every movement. Yes. Oh, that laugh I just laughed very much was like one of my sister's laughs because we have similar laughs. All right. There we go. Now we got a baseline. So now back to glorious triangle gluing. So again, this is just one card. What I like about this is I'm finding beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work to share by others, but also this gives me a chance to play, demonstrate, and you know, believe me, if I took this much time on every card, you would never see any decks. But I do like that I can look at this very, very, very soft paper. It's very powdery, so I'm trying to be careful not to dent it or push it around too much. It is like a rice paper, probably 25 years old from when I worked at Paper Source. So yeah. Let's see. So I like the idea that I can play with collage, which, like I said, I've got like these, maybe I'll put them, I'll show you guys on a future Studio Tuesday. I have these glorious bins of collected collage papers that I've been collecting, accumulating forever. And so I love that making this brings me joy because I can cut things out and put them back together, and I can demonstrate a visual concept, and I can put the teeniest, tiniest dent into that collection of collage papers. So there you go. All right. About 10 minutes on my hour. If anyone is watching and has a question, please ask. One Tuesday a month, I will not be doing this if this becomes a thing. I have Drawing as a Verb, which is my monthly Q&A. So that is a perfect place to register and join me with questions. That is very much about thinking, visual thinking, when we're getting down our ideas for ourselves, making messy drawings for ourselves, but also drawing for groups on behalf of groups for things like those roles of graphic recording and graphic facilitation. And if you have no idea what those things are, there are very old videos with very poor lighting on the YouTube channel. So here I got a little gap. I have a little gap. Just gonna have a little gap there. That's okay. So let's see. Anything else I want to say today about process? When we're drawing as a verb, when we're focusing on process-focused drawing, it is very much about being fast and messy. It is the kind of stuff we need to do to get to a more refined product later, if whatever that messy drawing needs to be turned into something more refined. But the big thing is none of us are living in a world or a culture. If you are, please let me know and I will come visit, where processes, like where the focus isn't on the emphasis, the reward isn't on product, finished products, beautiful products. I love beauty. I love aesthetics. And we do not give ourselves enough space to be messy and weird and push things around and see what happens. So I am all for folks talking process, sharing process, or just making process more tangible, making process more front and center. Huge reason like why I love that Sparks Brothers documentary was getting to see their process. So yeah, let's see what else is going on. Like I said at the top of the hour, tomorrow, if the rest of the day goes well, we will see. Tomorrow, I will be publishing an article called How to Focus When You're Listening. And again, that was taking some key ideas from the 6-hour visual listening workshop. Stay tuned for that. And definitely, this is where I'm supposed to do the YouTuber thing of telling you to subscribe. Definitely subscribe to my email list. That's going to give you the direct link when it's published of that article and future articles. And behind the scenes, not much time to talk about it today. I have hired people to help me. So that is huge in the world of Brandy Agerbeck. So I'm working with folks who can help me organize my content. So I'm sharing good stuff more consistently and more frequently. That there is stuff beyond registering for a workshop, which, you know what, I'd love you to do. Workshops are awesome. Online courses are awesome. I did the same thing. I need another line. Guys. Uh-oh. That looks fairly straight. Let's see how straight that is. But trying to, get some of this knowledge in writing, free on the internets. Certainly, that's actually not too bad. Look at that, eyeballs. The Agerbecks, there's a lot of marksmanship in the Agerbecks and really, really, really acute eyesight. So I like to call us, I think I'm the only one who calls us this, the eagle-eyed Agerbecks. So that was an eagle-eye Agerbeck move right there. But definitely sign up for the newsletter on the site to make sure you're getting the latest and the greatest. For sure, if you enjoyed this, subscribe to this channel. Because I'm hoping to set aside some process-focused stuff to do together, or to have you watch me and make a drinking game. Drinking game not only for the Aggro decks, but also my Studio Tuesdays. I'm not going to judge. It's a little early over here in Chicago. I said that like a true Chicagoan. Chicago. But subscribe if you enjoyed this. Comment. If you want to complain about me, just don't bother. I don't care. Like I said, a huge part of doing this is just trying to put out something more positive and something else I was going to say. And yeah, so believe me, my inner critic is loud enough, but certainly I welcome your comments below. If there's something I said that was useful, fantastic. And I definitely hope to see you on, whoops, I've got some glue there, on a future Studio Tuesday. I hope this works for you and works for me, and we make it a thing, because heck, let's talk process. Let's make some stuff. I like to say, now this is a collage, not a drawing specifically, but when you make a drawing, you make countless choices. And in those choices, you make meaning for yourself. And when you make those drawings full of meaning and full of choices, they are a first step or a next step in making great things happen. So here is to more making. Here is to more process. Here is to going out and seeing the Sparks Brothers. I just realized something. Okay. I don't know if I mixed these up. I had those two next to each other. All right, we might be, I realize this whole thing's up now upside down to my original orientation. So I can't have three. All right, guys, just caught something that, all right. Hush tones, hush tones. Let's do that instead. Two stripes next to each other. I think I can live with that. Anywho, here's to process, here's to making, here is to making great things happen, and to tenacity, and to busting those algorithms and getting new stuff in your life. Like Hillary suggested, start watching some Eurovision videos, and then all you'll get are Eurovision videos. But here is to making stuff happen, even if it's messy. Oh, that's what I did. All right, we're gonna live with that one. I flipped a triangle over and it became a different triangle. Thank you, Carmen. I know I couldn't see you, but I'm very glad you were here, and have a great dinner. I am not too far from getting some lunch and having a great Zoom call with a good friend. So, all right, kids, I think that's it for today's Studio Tuesday. Like I said, if you had any questions or comments, please add them below. And, you know, if you liked it, give me a thumbs up so I know this is something I should keep doing. There you go. Let's see. I should end on some perfect, wise thing. I don't think I have it. I think I'm getting hungry enough that I don't have it. But you know what? I'm going to glue down. We're not going to end until every triangle is glued down. Leave no triangle behind. Now, I've got print, 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 and stripe, stripe. Guys, you're very welcome, Dana. Hillary wrote Tenacious B. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I also physically resemble the gentleman of Tenacious D. Very solidly built humans. You are very welcome, Dana. Thank you for the thanks. Thank you for the thanks, sunshine. Lastly, I don't know about the stripes and these three patterns next to each other, although there's 4 patterns next to each other there. Okay, decided. Now we can finish the pink triangle card for probably the pattern deck. Let us see. But very happy to be in the studio, making something, helping folks get more of that beautiful visual acuity, because it is a huge, beautiful world. Carla, I hope to see you soon too. And Katina, talking about Eurovision and seeing Brady's collage, it reminds me of our Denmark's entry this year. Oh, I do need to find them. Is there collage involved? Ooh, we have a link. Add it to the comments. Thank you. All right. Studio Tuesday for June 22nd, 2021. Getting over the nihilism and the eddies of algorithms by seeing the Sparks Brothers. Talking about pattern and collage and visual language, and making what will be a card in a deck sometime in the future. So thank you. Oh, they're talking Eurovision in the chat. We might have to talk more Eurovision soon. Perhaps I will brush up and we'll talk more next Tuesday. So thank you for watching wherever you are. I hope you are well, and I hope you're making something and making great things happen. And now, there we go. I'm over here in Zoom and my menu wasn't popping up.